Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Jai Hind, and welcome to this daily editorial analysis session. So I hope I am properly audible and visible to all of you. Good morning, everyone. I hope I am properly audible and visible to all of you. Good morning. Okay. So thank you for confirming this. So how is your preparation going on? I hope everything is going better now. Good morning. Okay. So good morning, everyone, and welcome to this session. In today's session, we are going to discuss some of the key articles. There is one article with respect to this one part, climate adaptation. We are going to discuss this one article which is related to environment. Second article is related to Indian economy, and the third article is related to, again, the women reservation. There are some arguments in favor of it, some arguments against it. So there are three different topics which we are going to discuss in today's session. One which is related to environment. One is related to environment. Second topic is related to your Indian economy. And the third topic is related with respect to reservation for women. Reservation for women. So these are the three articles which we are going to discuss, the three editorials which we are going to discuss in today's session. So first we will start with this environment here. इस environment वाले section से start करेंगे. This is related to your GS paper 3. GS paper 3. And if you look at the topic is about adaptation versus mitigation. That in what direction our efforts are going, what we are doing, plus at the same time what we need to focus on. So we are going to discuss about these aspects, that what is the thing which we are doing right now, plus what we should be doing in actual. So we will discuss the question later. Questions को हम लोग बाद में discuss करेंगे. पहले हम लोग इसके बारे में start करते हैं. The first part is the adaptation thing. That this article, this is talking about adaptation versus mitigation. Adaptation versus mitigation. So first, can you tell me what is the difference with respect to adaptation versus mitigation in context of climate change? तो पहले तो आप मुझे ये बताओ कि what is the difference between this adaptation and mitigation? What is the difference between adaptation and mitigation? You are having a lot of interest in political science, but you are weak in international relations. See, it's not a challenge then. If you are that international relation is of course a very important part of it, but it's not a challenging aspect. If you are looking at current affairs on daily basis, then in a short span of time, you would be able to understand the core dynamics of international relation. I will suggest you go through the PYQs of PSIR once. Go through the PYQs of PSIR once. It will help you. तो मुझे ये बताओ, what is the difference between adaptation and mitigation in context of climate change? ये जो पूरा आर्टिकल है वो इसी के बारे में है कि our main focus, okay, what is this article saying? That majority of focus is around mitigation. and there is a lack of focus on adaptation. So these two terms are there often in the news. ये दोनों terms जो है वो बार बार न्यूज में रहते हैं कि adaptation and mitigation measures, adaptation and mitigation. तो what is the difference between adaptation and mitigation? इन दोनों में आखिर अंतर क्या है? What is the difference between this adaptation and mitigation? Mitigation is to reduce, okay? And adaptation? See, when we talk about the mitigation, it is like the efforts to tackle the causes. Efforts to tackle the root cause, that is mitigation. And the adaptation is efforts around tackling the effect. Tackling the effect. Here we are tackling the root cause. Like we are focusing on, like suppose when we are focusing on greenhouse gas emission reduction, when we are having a focus on greenhouse gas reduction, when we are focusing on greenhouse gas reduction, then it is something which is mitigation measure. इसको हम mitigation के रूप में देखते हैं. If we are planting trees, or if we are capturing carbon, capturing CO2, these are part of the mitigation efforts. These are parts of the mitigation effort. Now, in the case of adaptation, if we are having an example of climate smart agriculture, if we are having an example of climate smart agriculture, cooling solutions. So these are part of adaptation. These are parts of adaptation. Okay, like you can see here in this one example, there is somewhat a blend of adaptation and mitigation also. At some point they are also converging. Okay, at some point you will also say that we are having a convergence. Like here we can see in the adaptation, we are having a resilient agriculture species, delimitation of coastal risk areas, entomological surveillance, flood barrier. Okay. On the mitigation side, we are having renewable energy, industrial processes which are efficient, eco-friendly transportation, seasonal eating and less meat. Okay. And at the same time, there are certain mix of things where they are mixing with each other, like water and energy saving, awareness raising, increase in urban and green areas. So there is some point where they are mixing with each other also. It's not that they are entirely separate. Sometimes they are having a convergence also. But mitigation is mainly about reducing the root cause, reducing the main cause of the problem. Whereas adaptation is where we understand that mitigation may take a longer period of time and we need some immediate solution. So where we go, there we go for the adaptation. Like climate change, look at this one thing. No matter how hard we work, for the next 20 years, 30 years, the problem of global warming and climate change is not going to be over. हम कितनी भी कोशिश कर ले, अगले 20-30 साल में तो ये खत्म नहीं होगा. So for the next 20 to 30 years, we need certain efforts which can reduce the impact of the global warming and climate change. No matter how hard we work, again we see that in the next 20 to 30 years, the effect of it cannot be neutralized. The effect of it cannot be reduced. So in that situation, in that case, we need to work on adaptation. हमें यहाँ पे एडेप्टेशन की जरूरत पड़ती है. So this article is talking about this one part कि what is the difference in mitigation versus what is the difference in adaptation. क्या इस दोनों में difference है? Now here, why do we need to work on this adaptation? Why? Why adaptation is required? Why adaptation is required? See, India is the 9th most climate vulnerable country globally. There has been 430 extreme weather events which has been recorded in this time. There has been loss of $170 billion and there is an impact on 1.3 billion people. So we see some facts here that why this adaptation is required for us. Why there is a need to focus on adaptation. We have seen that we are among the 10 most vulnerable nations of the world. We have seen that there is an impact. There is an impact on 1.3 billion people. There is an impact of around $170 billion of losses. We see that extreme events like flood, cyclone, droughts, they are increasing. Flood, cyclone, drought, heat waves, they are continuously increasing. So all these challenges are there, which we see that why do we need this? Plus, at the same time, what we see that mitigation efforts, if we talk about the mitigation efforts, this is going to takes longer period of time to show impact. It will take a longer period of time to show impact. Second thing is, national effort is not sufficient. It requires global effort. It requires global effort. We see that geopolitics in present times reduced mitigation efforts. The present geopolitics has highly reduced this mitigation effort. So what we see that the adaptation is required because of the losses which we see, plus at the same time the mitigation efforts which are there, they are not going to bring some result in the near future. ये भी हाल फिलहाल में कोई ऐसा चेंज नहीं ला सकते. They are not going to bring some positive in the recent times. Okay. So what we see that super El Nino is also there in the news. We can see that even now super El Nino, it may be there, and when the super El Nino is there, it may cause a huge concern. Okay. So what we see that the adaptation is where we need to work. Most of the time our focus remains on reducing the greenhouse gas emission. Most of the time our focus remains on creating carbon sink, but all these things are long-term measures. They can be successful in longer period of time, but the immediate risk, the immediate challenge needs to be tackled right now. So that's why there is a need to focus on adaptation, and this adaptation, this is going to be at local level. This is something which is going to be at local level. It is something which is going to build resilience. It is going to build resilience. So adaptation is required in the present times because it can help in building the resilience. It can help in bringing the results in the real time. That's why we are going to require this adaptation more than just the mitigation efforts. I think that's clear. इसमें कोई doubt किसी को? On the basis of this, we have this one question. India requires adequate financing, institutional reform, and grassroots participation for climate resilience. Comment. So this is one thing which you have to prepare, which you have to write. Just 1 second. Now, coming to the next part, coming to the next article. The next article is with respect to the Indian economy. The next article is with respect to this Indian economy. What's happening in the Indian economy? So see here, when we are talking about the Indian economy, there is a term called as Goldilocks phase. So there is a term called as Goldilocks phase. So can you tell me what is Goldilocks phase? क्या आप मुझे बता सकते हो Goldilocks phase क्या होता है? Any idea about this? What is Goldilocks phase? Goldilocks phase क्या होता है? Any idea about this? What is Goldilocks phase? Golden time, good time for economy. When we talk about Goldilocks phase, it is like moderate to high GDP growth rate, we see that there is low inflation. There is low inflation and lower level of unemployment. That there is lower level of unemployment, low inflation, and moderate to high GDP growth rate. Moderate to high GDP growth rate. So this is what we call as Goldilocks phase, where all these things are there in favor. कि हमारे पास जब सभी चीजें फेवर में हो, so that is called as Goldilocks phase. So last year in 2025, Government of India said that India is in Goldilocks moment. India is in Goldilocks moment. But in 2026, what we see that the Goldilocks moment, is over. That the Goldilocks moment is now over. Now the question is, why? Why this Goldilocks moment is over? What happened all of a sudden that we were having the Goldilocks moment, but now it is being said that the Goldilocks moment is gone, Goldilocks moment is over. So the question is, why? Why? Why this is over? And how we can say that? How we can say that? How we can say that? How we can say that the Goldilocks moment is over? Here we see that GDP rate, GDP growth rate from 7.2% to 6.5%. That the GDP growth rate is coming down. the inflation, it is more than 4% now. Inflation is greater than 4%. Okay. At the same time, we can see other indicators like foreign portfolio investors, FDI, this is decreasing. FPI, going away from India. The foreign portfolio investment is going away from India. Forex reserve, this is something which is again declining. So we see that the GDP growth rate is lower, the inflation is higher, the FDI is decreasing, the FPI is going away from India, the forex reserve is declining. So there is a concern with respect to all these things. There is a concern with respect to all these segments, all these things. So that is one of the part which we can see from here. That here on all these sections, on all these grounds, we see that there is a decline. And what we see, okay, why FPI going away? See, there is a normal trend. When a war-like situation emerges, when there is a geopolitical risk, when there is a war-like situation, when there is a geopolitical risk, we see that in those situations, the investors are generally going toward developed nations. जब भी कोई ऐसी situation आती है, investors are going like for the developed nations. So that is why the FPI is also moving away from India. FPI भी भारत से बाहर ही जा रहा है. Now the thing is, the Goldilocks moment is over. We have seen how we can say that on these grounds we can say that it is over. And why it is there? One of the major causes, West Asia crisis. One of the major thing is West Asia crisis. Okay. This West Asia crisis, it has led to energy challenge, export challenge. Then we see that at the same time, inflation. It is going to cost 0.5% loss to GDP. It is going to cost again 0.5% loss to GDP. So this is one of the factor. This is one of the factor which we can see that West Asia crisis. The West Asia crisis is going to cause 0.5% loss to GDP. And why? Because of these problems: energy challenge, export challenge, inflation. Then we see that there is another factor which is there. The global geopolitics, or the rise of protectionism. There is a rise of protectionism also. Here we see that US has got tariff policy, US tariff policy, sanction regime, European Union, it has got its carbon border adjustment mechanism. So US has got the tariff policy, there is a sanction regime also, and European Union has got its own set of new non-tariff barrier, which is in form of carbon border adjustment mechanism. So these all segments are there which is impacting India's GDP. So our Goldilocks moment is over, and these factors are also responsible for it. These factors are also responsible for it. So now the thing is, when we are talking about this Goldilocks moment, okay, or when we're talking about the way forward, acha, here there is one thing, the positive aspect. What is the positive aspect? The positive aspect for the Indian economy, which we fail to realize, which we hardly talk about, is the strong domestic demand. There is a strong domestic demand. We can see that the entire world keeps on talking about this, that India is a huge market, India is a huge market, but our own companies are not talking about this, our own industries are not talking about this, that we have got a huge market. We have got a huge market. Our own industries are not ready for this, perhaps. We are having a very strong market in the entire world. A population of 1.5 billion people, a population which is growing, a population which is rising. This population is a major asset for India. It is a major asset for India. Okay. So what is there? No, this is not for Hindi medium. This is for English medium exclusively. For Hindi medium, we are having an evening session. This is an editorial session only for the English medium. Okay. So now here what we see, that we are having a strong domestic demand. We are having a strong domestic demand. This is something which we are ignoring. So what we need, but there again, we are having a challenge. We are having a challenge. The challenge is this. We have seen the crisis in labor market. Lower or no growth in wages. Lower or no growth in wages. So what we see here, when there is a lower or no such growth in the wages, it is going to reduce the demand. It is something which can reduce the demand. It is something which can reduce the demand in case of our economy. It can reduce the demand in case of our economy. So we see that there is this one positive aspect, that we have a strong domestic demand, but again there is a challenge, that there is a crisis in the labor market which is going on. There is a lower wage growth in case of India, and it may lead to reduction in the demand. It may lead to reduction in the demand of the services. I think you are aware about this. I think we have already discussed about this crisis in labor market. हम लोगों ने पहले भी discuss किया था. So I think you all have seen that session, that how the crisis is there in the labor market. Now the thing is, so what should be the way forward? What should be the way forward in this scenario? That what should be the way forward? So give me some ideas. इसमें way forward क्या हो सकता है? What should be our strategy? हमारी strategy क्या होनी चाहिए? What should be our way forward? The first part is, we need to ensure energy security. We need to ensure the energy security. This is one of the major challenges for Indian economy. So we can look at diversification of energy basket. We need to work on diversification. Okay. We need to work on diversification of the energy basket. Like, why we are just having oil? We need to work for other things. Like, there is a focus. Example, E85, hybrid cars. Okay. We need to LNG. We need to induction. So we need to diversify our energy basket. We need to diversify our energy basket. Second thing is building resilient economy. And this can be by creating strong domestic demand. Strong domestic demand. And you know that wages growth, social security, these all things are required for this. But we also need to diversify export basket geographically and commodity wise. Then last day, I think you have all seen this part. Last day we were talking about this. That we can also have partnership on the basis of our expertise. So we need to have a partnership. We need to have a partnership on basis of our expertise. We have seen about the trade deals. कल हम लोगों ने ट्रेड डील्स के बारे में पढ़ा था कि ट्रेड डील्स may not be that much effective. We need to focus on building partnership on basis of our own expertise. That we are becoming part of Pax Silica. What will be the relevance of Pax Silica if we are not producing the raw materials, if we are not processing the raw materials, if we are not a supplier? We are basically a consumer. We are basically just a consumer of the raw materials. We are just a consumer of the rare earth elements. So we are remaining as a consumer in majority of the groups. But we should focusing on either the producer or becoming the supplier of it. So we need to work on these aspects in order to ensure that there is a resilience in the Indian economy. E85 is a type of fuel where we are having 85% ethanol blending. Only 15% will be petrol, 85% will be ethanol. Ethanol can be produced domestically. Recently it was there in the news. ये हाल फिलहाल में न्यूज में था. Okay. Drain of grain mines. Yes, of course, that will also be there. Rishabh, that will also be there. We have to stop the drain of grain mines. We have to do that part also. So yes, this is the part that what we need to do in the case of Goldilocks moment of India. That is the second part. Now here we are having two different points of argument. Now here we are having two different points of argument. One is in favor of reservation, one is against the reservation. Okay. So just giving you a background. What is the background of it? 131st Amendment Bill. This wanted to provide reservation to women from 2029 instead of 2034. Okay. If we are already having a provision of women reservation has already been passed. Some newspapers have written this, that the women reservation bill failed in parliament. So they are just trying to make a headline which is attractive to people, but they are a sort of creating misinformation. The women reservation has already been passed in the parliament in 2023. Women reservation has already been passed in the parliament in 2023. This bill was having an aim to implement it at an earlier time. Okay. This bill was trying to implement it as early as possible. But women reservation is already there. It has already been passed. If not from 29, it is going to be there from 2034. So it's incorrect to say that women reservation has not been passed in the parliament. But again, some newspapers do that. Anyways, so providing reservation to women from 2029 instead of 2034. That was the aim. The bill failed to pass. Why? It was linked to delimitation. It was linked to delimitation. The bill failed to pass just because of this one reason. Women reservation bill, which tried to implement this women reservation from 2029, failed in the parliament just because of this one clever trick. There was a clever trick which was used here, that we are going to pass delimitation along with the women reservation. So due to which the bill has failed in the parliament. Okay. So now what we see, there are certain arguments in favor of it. It is again part of your GS paper 2, women in politics. We have discussed this article many times. Okay. इसको हमने कई बार discuss किया है. So now the thing is, the argument in favor and argument against it. Okay. So what is the argument in favor? It says that it can ensure real political empowerment, not just symbolic representation. That this is going to ensure that there is a real women empowerment, not just a symbolic one, as per the author. That it is going to have a real structural reform. Okay. So it says that there is a evidence from Panchayati Raj which shows that there is a shift in power relations and enable women to actively participate in decision making. It says that this will create a real reform, and we have evidence from Panchayati Raj that it has been a improving factor. It has led to improvement in the position of women in our society. It is also saying that it will increase women's voice in policy making. It will promote social justice and gender equality. It will break elite patriarchal dominance in politics. That all these things are going to be there if we are having the reservation in parliament and state assemblies. Okay. So it says that a long-term ecosystem of women leadership will be there, which can make our system more inclusive and more representative. So it says that the women reservation is going to bring the positive reform in our society. It is going to bring all these reforms in our society. Okay. But there is a counter argument. There is a counter argument. There is a counter argument. It says that it is not a meaningful empowerment. It is not a meaningful empowerment. It is empowerment of a few. there is a counter argument. Okay. There is a counter argument which says that it is like not sufficient. It is not sufficient. Okay. So what we see that focus should be on capability building and performance. Focus should be on capability enhancement. That you have to make them capable. आपको उनको capable बनाने की जरूरत है. Just to give you an example, there are many women who are getting selected in the UPSC examination. There are many women who are getting selected as IAS officers, IPS officers, IRS or IFS. So have they been provided with some reservation, or have they become capable enough to crack this exam? If we are talking about the UPSC aspirants, there are many women who are getting selected. So are they getting reservation there in UPSC? Is there any reservation for women in UPSC? We see that there is no such reservation. And despite this, we have seen that we have got various first rankers or the top 10 rankers who have been women. So reservation is the empowerment of a few. Reservation is the empowerment of the few. If we are working on capability enhancement, it will be empowerment of many. अगर हम capability पे काम करते हैं, it will be empowerment of many against a few. So this is again one part, that it is not the focus on women empowerment. It is focus on empowerment of a just few. Okay. So then again, what we see that the women who are appointed, women selected or elected through reservation. If there is a woman who is selected or elected through reservation, what we will see that there is a bias against them. Question on merit. Okay. So there is always a bias against them. There is always this question on the merit. Okay. So they are always going to feel this. They are always going to feel this, that people are not considering them equally powerful, equally capable. So they are always going to face this in their job, that some people will believe that it may not be there that they are actually powerful, they are actually capable. It is just because of the reservation they have got it here. So there will always be a question on their capability. So we are not working on empowerment by reservation. We are just like shedding the burden. हमारे ऊपर जो responsibility है, उस responsibility को ही हम खत्म कर रहे हैं. There is a responsibility of women empowerment, but by reservation, that responsibility is being shedded away. There is just like we are talking about facts and figures. हाँ, अगर 33% reservation लागू हो जाती है, तो we will have a good number. हमें बस एक गुड नंबर देखने को मिलेगा कि women representation has improved in parliament and state legislature, but the actual empowerment of women will remain missing in our society. Okay. So again we see that this is one thing which is a challenge. Okay. So the focus should be on diversity. Focus should be on diversity, not just on numbers. Real empowerment can come through grassroots empowerment. that we have to work on grassroots. We have to make women active in politics. हम लोगों ने इसको लेकर डेटा भी देखा था. We have seen the data also with respect to this, that what is the electoral participation of women in politics in India. What is their electoral participation? So if there is a reduced electoral participation, how do we expect that there is going to be a solution to all these problems just through the reservation? So if there is a lack of active participation in politics, reservation is only getting rid of the responsibility. So this is one part which you can see from here. So here we have again two questions. Okay. Reservation may open doors, but true equality comes when women are valued for their competence and performance. Critically discuss. So we have to critically discuss this one topic, this one like okay. Now coming to the first question. Now coming to the first part. Now coming to this one question. In a politicized global economy, India's strength will not come from trade deals, but from building strategic coalitions that shape global rules and standards. Discuss. तो आप में से कितने लोगों ने इसका आंसर लिखा है? How many of you have written answer for this question? और कितना टाइम लगा आपको? How many of you have written answer for this question and how much time you have taken in order to write this one? कितना टाइम लगा आपको लिखने में? 12 minutes, 18 minutes. So Rishabh, it is 18 minutes for writing it also plus thinking about it also, or just writing part? Okay, no issues. Both. If you are taking both, then it's fine. Now let us have a look at this. In a politicized global economy, India's strength will not come from trade deals, but from building a strategic coalition that shape global rules and standards. Okay. So you can, thinking took around 6 minutes, okay, 20 minutes. Fine, let's discuss this. What we can start? We can give an idea about this, that in the recent times, we can start with this, that India has recently signed trade deal with European Union, Australia, UAE, and a trade deal with US is also going on. A discussion on trade deal with US is also going on. However, there are questions with respect to the efficiency and outcomes of these trade deals. Okay. तो ऐसे आप इंट्रोडक्शन स्टार्ट कर सकते हो कि इंडिया हैज रिसेंटली साइंड वेरियस ट्रेड डील्स विद यूरोपियन यूनियन, Australia, UAE, as well as US. However, the efficiency and outcomes of these trade deals often come under scrutiny. तो यहां से ये स्टार्ट कर सकते हो कि हाँ, about the recent deals you can mention it. यहां से आपने मेंशन किया. Now the thing is that why there is a question, why the trade deals are considered less effective. Here you can make this one thing, the limitations of trade deal. You can start about this, limitations of trade deal. एक आप heading देंगे limitations of trade deal का. Then you will mention that what are the limitations of trade deal. आखिर इसमें limitations क्या होती है? We see that trade deals are often in favor of one country or other. Okay. Trade deals generally एक की तरफ ज्यादा झुकाव होता है. Bilateral trade deals bilateral trade deals are difficult to implement also. कि trade deal sign तो हो जाता है, but implementation is challenging part. The parties can unilaterally withdraw from it. जो इसमें parties हैं वो इससे unilaterally withdraw कर सकते हैं without any consequence. So we see that trade deals are having a limited impact. Trade deals are not that much positive. Trade deals are not that much positive with respect to any country. A limited impact is there. Implementation is tough. A party can unilaterally withdraw from here. In the similar manner, we can also talk about this, that recently India has joined some groups also. For example, Pax Silica, Mineral Security Partnership. There also we see that India has joined it merely as a consumer or just as an observer, whereas the other parties are the suppliers or producers. India is just a mere consumer. So India has been joining trade deals, or India has been joining various partnerships where it is lacking the capability, जहां पे capability की lack है. Okay. So here we see that you can analyze the limitation of trade deals, the limitations of new partnerships. हमने जो नए पार्टनरशिप्स लिए हैं उसमें क्या लिमिटेशंस है, एंड देन यू कैन सजेस्ट कि व्हाट शुड बी द अप्रोच, द सजेस्टेड अप्रोच, कि व्हाट शुड बी द सजेस्टेड अप्रोच ऑफ इंडिया, कि इसमें इंडिया का अप्रोच आखिर कैसा होना चाहिए, कि व्हाट शुड बी द सजेस्टेड अप्रोच ऑफ इंडिया, that we need to build strategic partnership on the basis of what? On the basis of our capacity, on the basis of our national interest, on the basis of active involvement of India in rule making or standard setting. Okay. We need to focus on this part. We don't have to be just a member of this. We have to emerge as a leader of the group. हमें बेनिफिट तब होगा when we are as a leader of the group, not just as a member of the group. Okay. So then you can mention this suggested approach, ki what should be the aim here. Okay. Then you can mention about some of the examples. Like if BRICS is there, BRICS is something which is advantageous to India. BRICS जो है वो भारत के लिए advantage है. Then you can mention that we have certain associations like BIMSTEC, जो इंडिया को एज अ लीडर प्रोजेक्ट करता है इस एरिया में. तो वी नीड टू रिवाइटलाइज, वी नीड टू रीइमेजिन आवर पोजीशन इन ग्लोबल जियोपॉलिटिक्स. तो फिर यहां पे आप एग्जांपल को भी मेंशन करो, ब्रिक्स का, बिम्स्टेक का, इत्यादि का. तो दीज आर द एग्जांपल्स वेयर इंडिया इज अ एक्टिव प्लेयर, इंडिया इज अ लीडर और एज अ इक्वल पार्टनर. इंडिया इज एटलीस्ट एज अ इक्वल पार्टनर. So we can focus on those where we are as a leader or we are as a equal partner. तभी हमें वहां से benefit होगा. If we are just a passive partner of the group, it is not going to be that much beneficial for India. So I hope कि आपने ये सारे points को include किया है. ये सभी parts को आपने include किया है. Today also, sir, only 75% is similar with your answer. If it is 75% similar, Ginny, then also it is quite fine. If it is 75% similar, you will find that this is not something which can be done in just 1 day or 1 week or 10 days, 15 days. This is something which will take some time. इसमें थोड़ा सा और समय लगेगा. But gradually, when you are looking at the questions, when you are practicing the questions on daily basis, then it will be better. About the conclusion part, yes, the conclusion part. So in conclusion part, you can write like this, that India's relation with other countries or association with any group should be based on national interest, priority and its own capability, rather than just becoming a part of the global clubs or the powerful clubs. Okay. that India's relations with other countries should be determined by its national interest, domestic or national priorities, and its own capabilities, rather than just becoming a group or just becoming a passive member of powerful clubs. इसको आप कंक्लूजन में लिख सकते हो कि our focus should be determined by our domestic priorities, by our national interest, and our own respective capabilities, not just that we want to become a part of a powerful bloc or a powerful club. I hope that's clear. Okay, so you can increase them. Okay, so now see what I have a request from all of you. One request is there. I have one request from all of you, that we are having this editorial session on daily basis. So please share it with your co-aspirants, your batchmates or your co-aspirants in your library, or the friends who are preparing with you, so that more and more people can join this session. Okay, so that will be all for today. Let's meet in the next session. Write these answers. कि मैंने आपको 2 क्वेश्चन दिया है प्रैक्टिस के लिए, so write these answers and then we are going to meet in the next session. So thank you everyone. Take care and all the best. Thank you.